Hi everyone, I'm Gautam aka the Seeker of Wisdom. I'm a manifestation coach, and in this video, we're going to be talking about a success story from a client of mine. Now, before I do so, I'd like to remind you guys I am available for coaching, so I offer hourly, monthly, email, and DM coaching. The link will be in the description down below for an FAQ page where you guys will have all the answers you need, and thereafter, you guys can reach out to me via Instagram or email for pricing information and to figure out, as to what plan may be suitable for you. I also have a Facebook group where I upload resources from time to time, as well as, you guys can ask me questions anonymously if you wish to do so. And I also have a mailing list where I post articles from time to time, as well as my latest offers for coaching as well. Now, on top of this, I also have a Manifest Your SP course. This is for people who can't get, probably a one-on-one session with me and who wants to, do it by themselves with, additional resources. This is a great way to do so. This course will be updated throughout time, and if you purchase it right now, you will get those updates for free. And yeah, so be sure to check that out as well. It's a great value for your investment. It has quizzes, videos, and like lots and lots of resources that are super duper helpful when it comes to manifesting your SP. So guys, be sure to check all of those things out. Again, all the link will be in the description. So without further ado, let's get to it. So what kind of prompted this video was basically, one of my clients, she is in her manifesting her SP journey at the moment, right? So she actually told me that her SP came by her home, and this is actually very uncommon with regards to her, because it's always her going to her SP's house. And and she also told me, and I'll post a screenshot of this as well, that he was very on the affectionate side of things, right? So what really like made it very surprising was, I think it was a week before this text that I received from my client. She actually thought her SP blocked her, right? So that makes it much more interesting, right? So what happened, what kind of led to that aspect of it, and then what led to this aspect that she has right now, right? And again, like in my previous success story, I'm kind of like taking the middle, people who are like going through this right in the middle of it all, like as they're going through their milestones and everything, just to give you guys a idea of what this journey may look like for you as well, right? Because I feel like the success stories which just shows the end all be all, like at the very end of it, may not be so relatable to some. So I just wanted to like grab some of my clients who are going through it right now, and to give you guys an idea of, okay, this is what your journey could look like, and this is what you could do that my clients are doing right now as well. So that's the main intent of this video series. So what really happened was, this client, okay, firstly, she has been working with me through DM support. So she has taken the 1 month DM support, and she has taken it a couple different times actually. So we have been working together for a while now, and the breakthrough sometimes may come from at different periods of time. And we were working on a lot of different things like mindset shifting and so on. And she took a break from coaching for a while, and then we started coaching again. So this time, like we kind of set the intention of course, manifesting the SP back. And we really kind of honed in on it. And unexpectedly, there was one time, I think it was a couple of weeks back, the SP basically, well, my client thought he actually blocked her. And I found that very unusual, right? So up till that point, I was like, okay, go inward, don't check 3D, like have an inner conversation with him. And I was always like a broken record, right? Like she knows that as well. So I'll always tell my clients to go inward, and by inward I mean use your imagination, talk to the 4D version of your SP, talk to the ideal version that's in your head, and you keep going and you persist, right? So like there was a little bit of back and forth between her and her SP. I mean, they are in talking terms, so it's not like she's in a no contact situation. So I always, that's why I always like emphasize to her, especially to go within basically. So one day she texts me something along the lines, so I think he blocked me, and I said, okay, well, are you sure, right? Like that was my main question, like because I didn't know like on what basis she thought he blocked her. But the main crux of it was that the message couldn't go through for some reason. So she thought she was blocked by him. And yeah, we talked it out. I was trying to like calm her down and like just like, kind of like trying to neutralize this. And obviously anyone would feel bummed out, and she was feeling really bummed out by that. And it was really sad for her, right? And I think like after we spoke, I think she decided to, I think she called her SP, or either that or she texted something, right? I'm not sure which one. I have to go and check at this moment. But I think she called him, or I think she texted him something, unfavorable, obviously, because, like she just thought he actually blocked her. And I think it was something along the lines of like, how could you do this to me, and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, you get the gist. So that happens, and she actually realizes, it was not, he didn't, actually block her. It was something along the lines of like connection problems or something like that, and the message just didn't go through. And the conclusion that she obviously got was that he blocked me, right? Immediately going to the unfavorable assumption that, so that happens. And needless to say, it was like a pretty awkward situation, I guess. And I was just asking her, like, and they started like talking back, like texting each other again, and that was fine. So that happens, and I say, okay, hey, how are you feeling? And I'm glad this person texted, and so on and so forth. And she said, actually, he came by my house, and I'm like, whoa, okay, and that was really amazing, because throughout the time I've known this client, and it's for months at this point. I've known her for several different months at this point, right? I think it's like about 3 months, actually, or more than that. And we, in our time of coaching throughout this period, I've never heard her saying, you know what, like it was always her going to his house, right? It was never him coming to her house. And I've never heard that before from her. So this was really, really like, amazing news for me. It was a huge milestone in my opinion. He actually came to her house, right? And not only that, this person is often known for being a little cold, a little detached, right? And so like that aspect was gone. Actually, when he actually came over, he was actually more on the affectionate side, right? And this was her words, not mine. And I was really happy to hear that. So I sent her, hey, I want to share your story on YouTube, and give me a little bit of like, okay, what did you do actually? Like, I know we have been discussing a lot of things, but what kind of stuck with you, and what kind of a routine that you did? Because here's the thing, the way I work is I give my clients all the tools, I give them all the perspectives, like like a couple of Lego blocks, right? And I will ask them to, okay, like go and customize it to your own needs, like suit it, like make it your own needs. Obviously I'll be there to like guide you and like advise you on like the routines, and how to go by it, and clarify any doubts you may have and you may get. But at the same time, I make it a point to really like leave it up to you as well. It's not, there's no fixed way to go about this. Obviously there are some basic stuff that I will definitely ask you guys, like maybe not to do, like checking 3D being the main one. But other than that, like there's no such like, there's, I don't restrict a client with a technique, like okay, no, you should do this technique only, for example. Like I will never do that to a client, right? So I asked her like, okay, so what did you do, what kind of like stuck for you, that what kind of like kind of clicked and made sense finally, because you did something right here, right? And I have a couple of notes actually, so I'll just like I took some notes. She sent a long voice note to me, and that's why I can't read it out loud. The text message is because she actually sent it through a voice note, and I have to read the notes here basically. So I think she spoke about like inner conversations, right? And these weren't like elaborate inner conversations. It was like, I love you, I miss you too, I love you too, and all this kind of stuff, right? It was very basic stuff. She also like visualized text messages from him. She went within, and that's something that she always wanted to emphasize was in throughout the message, like she was always saying like, go within, right? She went within. And she really kind of like like really went in and realized like what like she's actually doing. And she was really like making it all about herself, more so than doing it for a specific person basically, right? She was taking a much more of a overall approach, where she was like focusing on herself, and like how he thought about her and everything. And she really kind of like changed the perspective. Like she wasn't just doing this, going within and changing her perception of herself and like all that kind of stuff, not for her SP but for herself basically. And that's the main thing, right? Using self concept is something that she always spoke about. And I think one thing that she also spoke about was like the more she went within, she felt more authentic. It became very easy for her. She felt more true to her desire basically. And her journal entry, like she does journal entries as well, like she'll just write down statements basically. That too changed, right? Like tonally there was a shift, right? It was more about her. She made it all about herself basically. So like one thing I'll say is this, like if you guys ever wondered like, okay, am I can I manifest SP, or am I on the right track by just focusing on my SC, like SC being self concept, right? um, am I on the right track? Can I manifest SP that way? Yes you can, yes you are, right? Like I just wanted to like address that question right now, because this is example right here, right? And she really made it all about herself. I'm trying to see if I'm missing any points. I don't think so. And yeah, so she was really like embracing that aspect of it. And she was really like honing in on that aspect only, right? She was focusing on her job, and like she was doing everything on her side as well. And I think that's something that I'm really proud of her, because like on because she has her own business, for context. So she was like always like very keen on that, like focusing on that. And that kind of gave her an outlet to like just buckle down and focus on her work and being in the present moment of things as well. So that's something that she had going on as well. And I think like she really went within, like she said, and she really made it all about herself. And when she did that, like when she really went in and made it all about herself, that's when things started to shift, right? Because remember, SP is simply you pushed out. So whatever that you are telling yourself, and whatever that you are doing for yourself, people have to reflect that. Not just SP, like everyone has to reflect that, right? So was the same case with her as well. Like she just focused on herself, and her SP kind of reflect that as well. And I think like overall she started to see the good things and the good perceptions, and she started to think favorably, right? I think that incident where she thought he blocked her and everything, kind of made her realize like why she should assume in a favorable manner as well, right? Because it's so easy for people to just jump in to unfavorable conclusions. And it's also like what she did as well, right? Like she like blasted her SP pretty much, right? And that's one thing, right? Like if you think like you messed up, like don't be afraid of it. Because you can always like like he still came around. SP still came around, right, at the end of the day. So that's fine. Like, so don't beat yourself up for anything like that. But of course, don't use that as an excuse to kind of like react to the 3D again and again and again, because then you're kind of gonna put yourself in the same kind of state of mind all the time, right? If it happens once or twice, don't beat yourself up, but don't use that as a excuse to kind of be in the same loop, if that makes sense. So again, like the moral of the story here is to make it all about yourself, right? Because this is, at the end of the day, it's all about you. Even if it's not about SP here, it's always about you. It's always about you. And whatever you think is in your way is only in your way because you think it's in your way, right? So any sort of obstacle that you think you are facing is simply, in my opinion, a perceived obstacle, right? If you focus on attaining the desire and believing that it's yours already, then it's completely yours, right? I was just like making a post about the law of reversibility recently, and I spoke about that where where Neville spoke about something like, if motion can produce friction, and we also know that friction can produce motion as well, right? And a lot of things, right? Like if electricity can produce energy can also produce electricity, right? There are so many different variations to this. So if you apply that kind of same logic to manifestation, like if I can actually manifest, if I go through an experience, and if I feel happy, for example, and then technically if I feel happy, then I should be able to manifest that experience. I'm simplifying it here, right? So like that's the main gist of it. Like that's why manifesting works, right? So like to put it even in a very elaborate way, say you want money, or say you want your SP, right? Let's talk about SP since this video is about SP anyway. If you do want your SP, when you, let's say you are in a relationship with your SP right now, right? And you go through a couple of like wonderful loving experiences and you feel a certain way, right? You feel it real, you feel that joy, you feel that relief as though it's already fulfilled, right? Because it's already done. So technically speaking, if you were to feel that and embody that state of mind even prior to that love like happening, by the law of reversibility, basically your love life should come to pass, basically, right? So that's pretty much the law of reversibility, and that works as well, right? That's why manifesting works, right? When my client made it all about herself, essentially I would say it's detachment, in the sense that it's detachment because she is coming at it from a place of, okay, I am going to go and focus within myself, because that's what I would be doing if I'm together with my SP anyway, right? That's the way I perceive it, right? And that's why it always works. Detachment is, in my opinion, going about your life with a sense of knowingness that it's done, and that's the key thing, right? So make it all about yourselves, guys, and start manifesting whatever you desire. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If this video resonated with you, be sure to drop a like, and if you have any questions, drop a comment down below as well, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. Be sure to subscribe, as I'm uploading new videos every single week. Be sure to turn on the bell notification so that you will know when I upload a new video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy manifesting. Peace.